Okay, today we're going to create a virtual NIC VMnet5 using VMware server, and then we're going to connect it to the Dynamips GNS3 application, a cloud in that application. So the first thing we do is we launch our VMware server console. Once we've logged in, we will go up under host, we'll create a virtual network. We will come to the virtual network and we'll basically click add. In this case we're going to add VMnet5, hit OK. New device is created. We then go to our virtual network mapping and we see we have a new device selected. From here we would go to subnet and we would type in the IP address for the network address for the network we want to create. In this case I want to create a 192.168.50.0 and it's populated with 255.255.255.0. Having previously created and deleted this particular NIC, it's already populating that information for me. Typically you will have to type it in yourself. Okay, so now I've created that particular information. Go into DHCP, and again I find the VMnet5 is set up and it's a new device, and in this case I basically hit apply to activate it. Basically that's going to start it up on the DHCP up on for VMnet5. Be patient, it will come up, we'll start it. Okay, now VMnet5 is up and it's running on DHCP, and again we can click on the properties and see what addresses will be automatically assigned and how long the lease will be for those addresses connecting to this network app, this NIC. So at this point we now see the VM5 is host only. It's got its IP and it is in fact the DHCP is enabled. So we can hit OK at this point. And we see that if we come back to our network connections, that VMnet5 has appeared. You may have to hit F5 to refresh it, and it's even possible that you might have to go into My Computer Device Manager and search for new devices for it to show up. But it is there. It is connected. It's now operating. GNS3 provides a utility for identifying the different NICs on your network devices, I guess you would call them, on your laptop in this case. It's basically a shortcut it creates on your desktop, and you open it up, and if you watch, it will go through and it will eventually finish identifying all the NICs that have been added. And in this case, if you look, here's VMnet5, and you're going to need to know these last few digits of the what I call the GUID or SID for that particular device. And this will be when you go to set it up in GNS3. Okay, I'm going to leave this open at this time. I'm going to come back to my VMware server, and I'm going to use my workstation 4. Under workstation 4, you edit your virtual settings. You select the Ethernet, and you come down and you select the custom. And in the custom, the VMnet5 host only should appear. You select it, you hit OK. It's now applied as the NIC for that particular workstation. And if I were to boot this machine up, it would be connected to the 10 or the 192.168.50.0 network, which would be a problem in this case because I actually have the NIC on this machine set up for the 192.168.40.0 network. It's actually 40.110 is its IP address. So that's how you would set up the NIC in virtual server. Okay, to free up some memory, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. And again, we see our shortcut, and again we see that VMNet5 is appearing. Now we'll launch GNS3, and again, be patient. I'm using a big chunk of my memory doing this. Okay. Typically, you'd bring on a router, and in this case, we'll bring on a cloud. You configure your router. You pick an image you want to use. Again, I'll just use some default values. And in this case, it looks like I've got a fast Ethernet card already selected, so I won't do much else with it. And I'll apply that, hit OK. I always like to turn on names. Under my cloud, I would go to Configure, and under the cloud, Dynamips runs its little script again, and I can see that all the pull downs are there. So again, I need to come over here under VMNet5, and it looks like it's a D66F. So come back here and let's see if I can find a D66F, and right there it is. Select it, click Add, hit OK. I am now done with my network device list. I'll hit Enter, close that out, get some more memory back. And in this case, we want to do a fast Ethernet, so I go from router 1 to my cloud. And pretty much that's all there is to it. Let's see if emulation works. And it looks like it did. We'll start up router 0. And if I come over here, I can see my NIC is connected, and I can see my fast Ethernet. Simple as that. Lastly, one of the things I always like to do, I didn't do it this time, is I prefer to give the IP address for the NIC. I prefer to use the .1 ending for the router, and in this case, .2 for my virtual network device. And I also like to show it on the desktop. Fill up that system tray. That's what it's for. And then we patiently wait for the network to do it. And at that point, we are done.